Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. My name is Mark Fikes Jr. This is to become the podcast. How do you become anything you dream, you declare, and you commit? And success is your next breath. So I have a short podcast. At least it's short in my mind. Once I start talking, sometimes the more ideas come to me, and I kind of expand the concepts in real time. But hopefully, this one is as short as in reality as it is in my mind. So Father's Day was last Sunday, and I had a very, very chill Father's Day. I don't require much. I like a gift every now and then, or maybe going to a nice restaurant. But I'm cool with just kind of keeping the day as normal as possible. But I went out for a run. And on this Sunday, it was really, really hot, really, really humid, about 94, 95 degrees. And I'm in Michigan. So, with Michigan, it can get incredibly hot, can get incredibly cold. But today, on Father's Day, was really, really hot. So it was around 1 o'clock. So it was, the sun is at its peak or whatnot. And it was smoking outside. So I decided to go for a run. Now, my run is around 3 miles, might be a little bit more, not quite sure, but I know when it's hot like that and it's humid, it doesn't matter if it's a mile run, it's grueling. So I started running. Now, I'm not a big into running, but I enjoy it because I know what it does for me from a creative standpoint. Running and physical activity gives me clarity, and once I get clarity, I'm able to kind of think through ideas. I'm able to reflect on past experiences and past moments, past conversations, and I'm able to make sense of things a little bit better. I talked about this in a previous podcast, but when I am physically active, it gets rid of all the unnecessary energy, all the bad energy. I'm left with what I need. And that's why I always encourage people, and that's why I encourage people in this other podcast that I did to find your hobby, indulge in your hobby, because that hobby may complement your genius level talent. If your genius level talent is to be creative in some way, and for whatever reason, creativity is hard to come by, you're having a creative block. But if you can just indulge in your hobby still gives you an opportunity to be creative. There's less pressure there, but it might stir up some things creatively. And then from that point forward, you can take that creative energy, transfer it to your genius level talent, and maybe then you can rock and roll. You can get back to the action and get back to performing on a high level, being creative, and whatever else you need to do to exercise that genius level talent. So for me, I enjoy physical activity, and it could be playing basketball, it could be working out, it could be running, it could be lifting, whatever the case may be. But if I can get physical for a while and kind of get after myself, I kind of get rid of all that bad energy, and I'm left with what I need, and I also get that clarity, and my creative juices start to flow, and I can get going. So as I'm running and I'm on my way back, I start thinking about how tough this run is, right? I run to a stop sign. So on the way to the stop sign, I had good pace. I was breathing, under control. But on the way back, everything just became a bit of a grind. Everything became a bit of a struggle. And so my brain started working, and I started thinking about what I was doing. And this is what came to me. There's 3 levels to toughness. 3 levels to toughness, or 3 levels that lead up to toughness. Or let me go back. Maybe there's 3 narratives that lead up to toughness. There's 3 narratives that lead up to toughness. And so I'll tell you how I got to this concept. So as I'm running back, I started thinking about how tough this was. And I started thinking, man, it'd be really tough to do this tomorrow. But as I'm thinking that, I instantly psyched myself out of it and realized that I could do it again tomorrow. And I could do it again tomorrow, or run the same mile, or run the same path or route in the same weather, under the same conditions, because I've done this before. I've run, I've worked out, I've been in the gym that's super hot, I've been outside, I've been physically active and went hard in tougher conditions. So I know that I can run this 3 miles and some change again in the same condition. And I was thinking to myself, it's really tough to do this again and again and again. And I started thinking back to people I know who have maybe done something once, but they wouldn't do it a second time. And so that was my second thought. So if you're really tough, you can do it again and again and again. But I said, sometimes people do things that are tough once, right? And maybe they know it's at the end of the tunnel, or maybe they know what the grand prize is. Maybe they are kind of, infatuated. They're excited about what's at the end, and that carries them through. Maybe it's adrenaline. Who knows what the motivation, inspiration is, but people can do something once that is tough. They can do something tough once, but a lot of times they won't come back to it. You know what I'm saying? Especially if the reward wasn't what they thought it was going to be, or maybe if, for whatever reason, it was really, really grueling, they won't do it a second time. Right. And then I realized that the other narrative is some people think that whatever, the challenge is so daunting, so difficult that they won't even step up to the challenge at all. And so that's where you have these 3 narratives. And the first narrative is, that's really, really tough, or I think it's really, really tough. I heard it's really, really tough. It looks really, really tough. I'm good. I'm not going to do it at all. I'm just going to stand here on the sideline and watch everybody else do it. That's the first narrative, right? And that, again, goes back to your brain playing tricks on your brain, saying, listen, bro, we don't need this. We don't need to go through this in order to prove our toughness. We don't need to do that. Let's save our body. Let's save our legs. Let's save our heart. Let's save everything and avoid this altogether. This is just, we don't need this. You know what I'm saying? And it could be something physical. It could be something mental. It could be, a job. Let's not go through the whole certification. Let's not go back to school. Let's not pursue the other degree. Let's not do all that. We're not going to get the job anyway. It's not worth it. Let's not even do it. Or, whatever the prerequisite is for whatever you want. A lot of people will look at that prerequisite and psych themselves out of doing it. It looked tough. It sounds tough. Maybe they saw somebody else go through it and that person wasn't as graceful as they could have been. So because of that person went through it and it was so tough, they will say, you know what, I'm good. I don't even want to do it because I don't want to look like that person. And discounting or ignoring the reality that maybe you're a genius in that area. Maybe, that person suffered, that person went through it, and they struggled, but you're actually gifted in this area. You're going to make this look easier than that person did because you're actually gifted. But a lot of people don't even give themselves a chance. They just convince themselves that it's too tough, it's too strenuous, it's too rigorous, and then they go the opposite way. Matter of fact, they don't even give themselves a chance. So that's the first narrative, right? That eventually leads up to toughness. Now, the second thing is what I told you. That's when some people, they get so excited about the potentials of, taking on this prerequisite, whatever it may be, right? And again, the prerequisite may be something in school, it may be something at work, maybe something in your personal life. Who knows what the prerequisite is? But you know that in order for me to get from point A to point B, or for me to get whatever's behind this door, I got to go through it. I got to go through something, right? So some people do it and they get going and they recognize that it's tough and that it's strenuous, it's rigorous, it's stressful, it's anxiety filled, it's something else. But they keep thinking about the end game. They keep thinking about the prize. They keep thinking about whatever it is that they want, and that carries them through. That carries them through, and all depending on what's at the end of the rainbow, kind of dictates kind of if they'll do it again. If it's everything that they thought and more, maybe they'll do it again and again and again, which is my next narrative. But we'll stay right here for now. But sometimes people, they go through it and it's not what they thought, and they say to myself, well, I'm not doing that again. Not realizing that sometimes you have to, in order to get what you want. Sometimes you gotta, how many times have you heard people who have taken a certification and they didn't pass, but they took it again and again and again, or people who, went they whatever it is they needed to do, they would do it over and over and over again because they wanted to do it. And it might have been a test, it might have been a certification, it might have been a class, might have been going to school, might have been getting a degree, whatever the case may be. It might have been just being in school and failing a test or failing a class or whatever the case may be, but they did it again and again. It might have been something physical. It might have been something physical where they had to, so certain physical tests or whatever, whoever was in front of them had some physical demands and they didn't succeed, but they kept at it again and again and again. You know what I'm saying? They did it once, but they came back because they really wanted what was at the end of the rainbow. I trained a girl last year. She played college basketball for 2 years, and she was a wiry type of energy player, rebounder, finisher, get the basketball, put it back up. People drop the dime off to her. She could catch it, put it back in the basket. Didn't have many moves, just wiry, long, athletic, had some decent instincts. And so she said that she wanted to work out with me in the summertime. Now, I got some boys that were in her same class, and they played really well their sophomore year. And the boys spent the summer with me, and so she looked at them and said, "I want to play like them. Right? I want to be like them." So one of the boys that I trained just happens to be the girl's boyfriend. So I think that was part of it. There was an opportunity to hang out with one another. But she jumped in, and she got after it, and she did all the drills that the boys did, and just really seemed to embrace the hard work and whatnot. She got stronger, became more athletic, and was constantly having talks with her to make sure that she was understanding what she was going through so that she could put things in perspective. And I told her on several occasions, just because you're going through this, you're doing this work, you're not going to go from being a 6.7 point per game player to a double digit, 20 points per game player. It's not going to happen. You're going to add some things to your game, but you still have a role to fulfill. You still have other players that are, better than you, that have the green light and that are the first and second option. But you want to be just a better, more dependable basketball player. You want to be somebody that when those options are closed, the first and second option are closed, they throw the ball to you, you can make that person play. If you're a third option, you're probably got the third best defender on you. Okay, so you want to be able to take advantage of having the third best defender on you. And she would always kind of give me this conversation that would make me respond with a pep talk. And some people do that. They know what the answers are. They know how they should think, but they vocalize a very insecure, uncertain type of conversation so that you'll in turn tell them how special they are, how awesome they are, so on and so forth. And my thing is like, hey, listen, when we working out, you got to give yourself that pep talk. I'll give it to you every now and then, but you got to give yourself that pep talk, because if you rely on me to give you that self pep talk, you rely on me to give you that pep talk, then that means that you're not internalizing any of this information. And now your confidence is predicated on how much I'm empowering you versus your confidence being predicated on how much you're empowering yourself. So all throughout the summer, I kept giving her these talks because I felt like, maybe she really does need it. Had her junior year, played okay. I think she went up in all of her numbers, but she didn't play the way she thought she should have, right? She thought she should have been dribbling around people and getting the coach to call ISOs and isolation plays so that she could kind of work her magic. And she stayed in the same capacity. She was at the same role. There was times when the coach would go to her, but for the most part, she was doing the same thing she did her sophomore year, but she was doing a little bit better because she had a few more tools, a little bit more confidence, stronger body, so on and so forth. But she wasn't pleased with that. She wanted her numbers to kind of jump through the roof. And so she was ducking and dodging me the whole postseason until almost at the end of the school year. She ran into me and she says, I'm not going to work out this summer. I want to work with my mom. She owns a daycare, and I think I'm going to be doing that once I graduate. So I kind of want to start learning more about the business. Now, she did this her sophomore, going into her junior year. She worked with her mother. So she trained with me and worked with her mother, right? But this year she wanted to do it. She wanted to work with her mother more to learn more about the business, right? And so that's when I attribute that to that second narrative where some people will do something tough once, but they won't do it again. Because at the end of it, they may not get everything that they thought they were going to get. The reward may have been very small in comparison to what she thought she was going to get. And so because of that, people say, no, I'm not doing that again. And then there's the third narrative. The third narrative is when that person goes through the gauntlet of just everything being tough, and they do it again and again and again. And regardless of how big the prize is, sometimes there's no prize. Sometimes you go after it and you fall flat on your face. You get left behind. You end up coming in last. And some people still go back to the racetrack, right? They go to the weight room. They go to the study hall. They go back to the class. They enroll themselves in whatever they need to enroll themselves in and get themselves another crack at it. And for me, it's as simple as I'm running in this 90 plus degree weather. It's humid. I'm going to do this again. And if it's 98 degrees, if it's 1 degree more, if it's 2 degrees more, and it's my running day, I'm going to do it again. And this is where the toughness piece comes in. I don't ever want to be afraid of hard work. I don't ever want to be afraid of a challenge. I don't ever want to be afraid that something looks daunting, something looks big, something looks impossible. And the first thing I think of is how to get out of it, how to run away from it. I want to have the confidence that I can figure this thing out and I can endure it. And even if I don't win, even if I don't succeed the way I thought I should succeed, I still want to have the courage to go through it, because I know that I'm going to need that moment and finishing that moment for the next time I see something that looks really, really difficult. You dig what I'm saying? So basically what I'm doing is I'm putting courage in the bank. I'm saving up my courage. So I'm working for it, right? I work for my courage through just getting after it. That's how I work for it. And then once I get the courage, I put it in the bank. Now there's going to be sometimes I'm going to come up against obstacles that they don't even make me flinch, right? I attack those, without thinking. But there are some times when you may run across, or I may run across something that's really, really big, and I may need to go to the bank. Like the courage I got in my pocket ain't enough. I need to go to the bank and do a withdrawal, and I need to do a big one too to help me fight through whatever it is I'm fighting through. And so what looks like a 3-mile run on Father's Day to you or to anybody else who's watching seems like nothing. To me, it's so much bigger than that, because I never, ever, ever want to be intimidated by the moment. I never want to be made to feel inferior or less than by the moment. So I got to store up that courage, that confidence. I got to store up all that so that the next time I see something that looks big or bigger than me, I got something to fight with. I got something to pay with, if that makes any sense. So there's three narratives that lead up to toughness. The first level is some people don't even answer. They don't even want to get in the ring, right? Some people get in the ring once, right? And they might fail. They may not. They might win. But they're like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. I'll do something tough once. I'm not doing it twice. But then there's some people, they get in that ring again and again and again. Win, lose, or draw, they get in there again and again. And people are like, how can this person get in this ring again? Isn't this person's crazy? But what those people don't know is that the reason why that person may be getting into the ring is much deeper than the opposition or the person that they're fighting. It's so much more about them than it is the person that they're fighting. They're fighting for their confidence. They're fighting for their courage. They're fighting for success long term. They're fighting for their growth mindset. They're fighting for their ability to look opposition in the eye and not frail, not crumble, not melt, not disappear. They want to be able to look at obstacles in the eye and answer and respond and attack and pursue and succeed. And so that's it, man. Took me 20 minutes. I'll finish up with my mantra and then let you guys go. But greatness lives on the edge of death. I'm not afraid to die. I will fight for my dreams. I will celebrate my dreams, and I will die for my dreams. Thoughts are things, and everything starts off as a thought first and springs from a place of mindfulness and clarity. My name is Mark Fox Jr. There's 3 levels to toughness, but make sure that you're attacking toughness or attacking the opportunity to be tough again and again and again, so that you can pull from those moments to help you when the moments are seem overwhelming and a little bit bigger. Mark Fox Jr. Done.